Charlie, it is hot out there. I was talking to some folks back in Florida this morning, and it was actually hotter here than in some parts of Florida this morning.
I believe it. I believe it. Right now, it feels hot in here.
Yes.
I can't even imagine what it's like outside. Well, I can't imagine. We've got the numbers. We've got the numbers. Let's get right to those numbers. 95 degrees in New Bern right now. Feels like 108. Yeesh, 76-degree dew point will do that to you. It is just a hot one throughout eastern North Carolina, even along the coast where we usually see some of our more reserved temperatures, especially this time of year. 93 degrees right now in Morehead City. East-southeasterly wind at 9 miles an hour. Again, feels like 103 thanks to a 74-degree dew point. Now, there is light at the end of the tunnel for this heat, but it's just not going to be happening as soon as many of us may want. Right now, Greenville coming in 97 degrees, feels like 107. Dew points have come down slightly from earlier this morning. When we got in today, I believe dew points in Greenville were at around 77, 78 degrees, now down to 73. But you step outside, you're probably not saying, wow, that humidity certainly came down. It is hot, it is sweltering, and that's the case all across the east from Hatteras to I-95. This is you're looking at current air temperatures. Here is what it currently feels like. All reporting stations at triple digits and higher. I'll have more details on your full First Alert forecast coming up in the next few minutes.
You know, I feel like we didn't, even though we did, I feel like we did not slowly inch our way into the summer. I feel like it was chilly, and then it was really hot.
Exactly. It's like all of a sudden kids out of school in one day, and now we've cranked it up to 90, 95, and we're just there. Now, again, we do have a light at the end of the tunnel. We do, on our 8-day forecast right now, have one day in the upper 80s.
Oh,
but
man.
we got to wait to get there. All more details on that in a bit.
Great. Thanks, Charlie. Well, President Trump said a ceasefire between Iran and Israel was in effect today after the deal initially faltered. Israel had earlier accused Iran of launching missiles into its airspace after the truce was supposed to take effect. NBC's Matt Bradley reports from Tel Aviv.
Well, we've passed the 12-hour mark where that fragile truce was supposed to be joined by the Israelis, and now it looks as though it is still holding despite the odds and despite back and forth firing between Israel and Iran this morning. Now, here in Tel Aviv, we were woken up to not just one, not two, but three successive sirens, all of them in the space of just about an hour. And this was, very disturbing for a population who probably thought that they were going to never hear a siren, at least for the time being. There is a lot of confidence here that this deal is going to hold, despite what we heard this morning. And people that I've been speaking to or are close to the Prime Minister's office, they tell me that this is seen as finished. And even though the Israelis haven't necessarily gotten all of what they wanted, all of what Benjamin Netanyahu had proposed, which is the total destruction of Iran's nuclear program, it looks as though they're prepared to quiet their guns for the time being. There are still assessments about just how much damage the U.S. and the Israelis have done against the Iranians over the past more than 10 days. So it's still yet to be known what happened to Iran's nuclear stockpile, what happened to most of its weapons, and whether or not even that regime is going to remain in power. Matt Bradley, NBC News, Tel Aviv.
According to a senior White House official, after the U.S. strikes on Iran, President Trump told Netanyahu to not expect further American offensive military action. And President Trump also arrived in the Netherlands today for a historic two-day summit that could unite the world's biggest security organization around a new defense spending pledge or widen divisions among the 32 allies. The allies are likely to endorse a goal of spending 5% of their gross domestic product on their security to be able to fulfill the alliance's plans for defending against outside attack. Still, Spain has said the target is, quote, unreasonable. Slovakia said that it reserves the right to decide how to reach the target by NATO's new 2035 deadline. Ahead of the meeting, Britain, France, and Germany committed to the 5% goal. The Netherlands is also on board. Nations closer to the borders of Ukraine, Russia, and its ally Belarus had previously pledged to do so. Trump's first appearance at NATO since returning to the White House was supposed to center on how the U.S. secured the historic military spending pledge from others in the security alliance. But the spotlight has shifted to Trump's decision to strike 3 nuclear enrichment facilities in Iran and his sudden announcement that Israel and Iran have reached ceasefire. And a member of the Crips gang in Greenville is headed to federal prison for the next 6 years. The U.S. Attorney's Office says Leonard Williams Jr. was given the sentence after a guilty plea in February. The 36-year-old Williams admitted to possession with intent to distribute cocaine and possession of a firearm in furtherance of drug activity. The feds say the Greenville Regional Drug Task Force made several controlled buys of cocaine from Williams last summer. Then on August 12th, they raided a home on Ward Street, finding an ounce of cocaine and a loaded .40 caliber handgun. Prosecutors say Williams is a validated member of the 83 set of the Crips and has a prior conviction in 2016 for conspiracy to commit second-degree murder. And Kinston Police is asking for your help identifying 2 people who may have been involved in a hit-and-run crash. Police say the 2 people seen in the photos were possibly involved in a hit-and-run at the Walmart in Kinston yesterday. Police say they were driving a red SUV. If you know who these people are or have any information related to the crash, please call the Kinston Police Department or Kinston Lenore Crime Stoppers. Those numbers can be found on our website. And in Raleigh, the heat isn't keeping protesters from making their voices heard surrounding a proposed inshore shrimp trawling ban. Shrimpers are sounding the alarm and arriving in rows as the, quote, no shrimp trawl protest takes place early this morning outside the Legislative Building in Raleigh. From Atlantic, North Carolina to Englehart and even South Carolina, shrimpers are coming together to stand in opposition of the new amendment that passed last week that would ban intercoastal shrimping of 1.5 miles offshore. Officials and shrimpers alike say they're here and hope their voices are heard.
They are violating our inalienable right to pursue our jobs and our livelihoods. I have never seen a bill that would just cut jobs permanently, amended into a bill at a later date like this.
But this would knock out about 40% of my income. But meanwhile, I knew a lot of people that it would knock out 100% because all they do is shrimp year-round.
Legislators and others who are in support of House Bill 442 say they support the bill because of the impact shrimp trawling has on marine life and habitat loss within intercoastal waterways. The Senate is meeting Tuesday for a final reading on House Bill 441, which includes a plan to pay shrimpers impacted by the proposed trawling ban $10 million over the next 5 years in government handouts to any affected shrimpers. And a squirrel is being blamed for yet another power outage, and this one that left thousands of homes without air conditioning this morning. Greenville utilities say some 3,145 homes were impacted around Bee's Barbecue to Allen Road. GUC says it happened just before 7 a.m. when the squirrel had a deadly encounter with a transformer. Automatic safety measures shut down 4 circuits. 3 of the circuits were back online quickly, while a 4th took about a half hour to restore. Earlier this month, another squirrel at a substation caused some 5,000 homes in Emerald Isle to lose power for more than an hour on June 7th.